In our last video, we talked about the importance of being honest with yourself in assessing our skills and our weaknesses so that if necessary, we can make changes so that we can keep riding longer and stay safe, such as downsizing our motorcycles. This time I want to continue our discussion about getting old and continuing to ride by talking about the importance of attitude. Now, I'm not some self-help guru, but I have made a lot of changes since, well, probably about when I turned 60 that I think have really helped me enjoy riding more, but also to enjoy life more. I've really mellowed quite a bit. Just ask my wife. I have a group of fellow riders that get together once a month and we discuss topics about motorcycling and travel and sometimes just life in general. And I call this the Living Off the Slab Travelers Club. Now you can be part of these discussions by joining the Travelers Club, and you can do that out on my website at livingofftheslab.com. Over the last couple of months, one of the topics that has come up is the importance of attitude, not only to riding, making your motorcycling life better, but making life in general better as we get older. And to illustrate this, well, let me tell you a little story. On the way home from Ohio and riding the windy 9, I pulled into a McDonald's for a respite from the rain and to get a cup of coffee. While sipping that dark caffeinated goodness, I overheard a group of seniors, probably about 10 years older than me, discussing the state of the world and just how screwed up it was. And of course, if everyone would just start behaving as they prescribed, everything would be hunky-dory. As I listened to this conversation, I thought to myself, here I am battling the wind, rain, and the cold temps, thinking the world is an amazing place because I am on my motorcycle living my best life. Yet, here are these other folks who, even at an advanced age, just could not let go of the futile desire to make the world into something it will never be. This was an example to me of how I do not want to end up, and it reminded me of just how much time I wasted as a younger man worrying about things I had no control over. It unfortunately took me about 60 years to figure things out. Not that I have all the answers, but I have learned a few things the hard way and by listening to my fellow travelers. Number 1, become a lifelong learner. This first one I have talked about before, and I have done a video on attitudes and behaviors that I have adopted to help keep me safe. One of these is to be a lifelong learner and to understand that no matter how many miles I have logged or years I have sat in the saddle, there is always more to learn and I can always get better. This was a practice echoed by my Travelers Club members, and you can get more of those habits I have adopted to keep myself safe by watching the video listed in the description. Number 2, don't stop moving and don't stop creating. This one goes along with number 1 in that you need to keep doing the things you enjoy, whether it be motorcycling, gardening, creating art, or yes, even being a YouTube creator. That is the primary reason I continue to struggle against the algorithm. It is a creative outlet that gives me joy. It is the same for motorcycling and for travel. It sparks in me a sense of adventure and challenge. As long as I can physically ride, I will continue to do so. Number 3, let that shit go. As I mentioned in the introduction of this video, it seems to be in fashion with our social media-driven world that there is always something to be outraged or pissed off about. For many, life is just a series of existential crises that must be fought over and, of course, posted about. In the motorcycle world, these include things like inattentive drivers, those that camp in the passing lanes, because only we can do that, and of course, grass clippings. One of the recurring comments of my last video was how dangerous it is out there on the road, with inattentive drivers looking at their phones, women doing their makeup, and of course, all kinds of other distractions. I am sure we have all noticed that over the last 10 years or so, that the once peaceful back roads that only we motorcyclists knew about are now filled with folks using ways to avoid traffic. Both of these things are unfortunately true, But what are we going to do about it? It seems to me that basically we have two choices. We can either allow these things to stop us from doing what we love, or we can adapt. Personally, I choose the latter of these two options. I try to ride more attentively and also to do the things that I talk about in that video which I mentioned in number 1. Now, does someone pulling out in front of me make my heart race, and might it make me want to retaliate? Well, sure, but doing so does not change anything other than to make my blood pressure rise. I guess I could do something stupid like kick the side of the car or hit the side mirror, but that is just childish and once again does not change a thing. The best thing to do is to take a deep breath, be thankful that you have the wherewithal and the skills to avoid the incident, and let that shit go. Number 4, find your passion and follow it, not someone else's. Watching YouTube or one of the other social media platforms, there are always those that will tell you that you are not a real motorcyclist if you can't drag a knee or you're not willing to make daring across the double line passes. Likewise, you are not a true adventure rider unless you go off-road, and you're not a real touring rider unless you have completed at least a couple of iron butts. Of course, there is nothing wrong with any of these types of riding, other than maybe the double yellow line passes. I mean, that's just stupid. But the idea that anyone else can tell you what kind of riding is best for you is, well, bullshit. For me, I love to travel. I got back into motorcycling so that I could ride through this amazing country and continent back in 2006 when I was 46 years of age. And it is still where my passion lies today. I ride an adventure bike, but I don't really take it off-road that often, and when I do, it is well-groomed dirt or gravel surface. Some may not think this is true adventure, but it does not matter what anybody else thinks. The only thing that matters is that I'm following my passion and doing the kind of riding that gives me joy. Number 5, slow down. Life is not a sprint. This is one of those things that I think it takes getting into retirement years to fully realize. While we are working, everything seems to be a sprint from one weekend to the next. But as you are allowed to slow down, life becomes much more enjoyable. At least it has for me. It used to be that, like most people, I had to work a trip into the 2 or 3 weeks allowed by my employer. But now my time is my own, and it has allowed me to make some changes to my travel schedules, which have greatly improved my experience. I no longer need to do big days on the highway. I can limit my riding time to 300 miles or so, stop more often, and stick to the back roads. Especially when traveling alone, I create a self-imposed schedule where I have to stop every hour to hour and a half. I get off the bike, empty my bladder, walk around a bit, and maybe stretch before getting back on the bike. If there is something great to see, well, I take the time to make the visit. Traveling this way allows me to enjoy my mornings, have a great day of riding, and arrive at my destination with plenty of time to unpack and take a refreshing shower before finding something for dinner. I do not allow myself to feel exhausted, and with time on my hands, I can catch up on video work or even read a great book while on the road. I know this is hard for many people. I have friends who need to fill each day from sunup to sundown. But for me, the downtime is part of the enjoyment of traveling. Number 6, adopt an elder mindset. Like most of you watching this video, I spent the last 40 or 50 years fighting the battle or making a living and creating a life. For most of that time, it seemed that I was chasing the dream far more than I was living it. It was not until I approached 50 years of age that I finally said, fuck this, and started making time for my passions. Now, my battle is over and it is no longer my responsibility to solve the problems of the world. That burden has been passed to those now in middle age, the millennial generation. My role is to be the tribal elder who is here to offer guidance when needed while enjoying the last 20 or so years I have remaining. This does not mean that I am old and I am giving in. Rather, it means that I no longer choose to focus on the problems outside of my control. Sure, we, Kathy and I, will have some personal struggles as we age, but we will deal with those as they arise. For now, I will do my best to live in the moment and let the world around me unfold as it will. All right, so now it's your turn. Is there something I missed? Is there another attitude that you have adopted that helps you not only in your motorcycling life, but in life in general? Or do you think I'm all wet about this stuff? Do you think that we should all go down to the bitter end battling everything in life? Well, if so, go ahead and have at me in the comments. But always make sure you ride safe out there.